Man, what's going on, man? Welcome to I'm Just Saying podcast. I'm Jeremiah again.
And Gabe,
Gabe, we're not together for the
it's
first time.
yeah, it's been a minute. We're trying this separately. Uh, Obviously, it's been a minute since our last episode. You can't hide the fact we're still in school. So
Nah,
life,
yeah,
school,
it's
it's
like
just that time of the year. But we're here and we're back and we're ready to go. I mean, we missed a lot, but we didn't miss
a
too
lot of
much.
basketball. We didn't miss too much. We missed 5 games probably, but I mean, we didn't miss a lot, like you
You know,
said. We want to
apologize
get
for the absence, but at the same time, like I said, you know,
college
life,
student.
school. But
Yeah,
now that the semester's about to come to the end, there's gonna be a lot more. It's gonna be flowing, especially
yeah,
when you get into conference play.
yeah. I'm excited for that. But I mean, we can jump right into it, man. What
Yeah, it's
what
no time to waste.
what have the Vols been doing for you, man? What have you been impressed by?
Oh, they look amazing. I say we just start back. Yeah, we played some non-conference games, some just your Austin Peas or whatever, your Gardner Webbs. Those were fine. Obviously, won all those. But I would just like to skip over those and dive right into
Okay.
the Baja Mar Championship. So the Vols went down to
Promise.
the Bahamas for the second time in 3 years, I think. Because
We got
we
last we got last
or
year.
unless we did the Atlantis. I think we did the Atlantis last year.
Yeah,
One time we
yeah,
went to Miami or
yeah.
Maui, and then one time we went to uh the Bahamas. I know for sure. But we go to the Bahamas again for one of those. What did what did that Coach Harley call them? The
The three
mixed.
the three game I forgot what he said exactly, but I
Yeah,
know what you're
the
saying.
multi-team.
Yeah,
I
the
forget what
MTE. That's what he said. The
the multi-team the multiple team event. So we had one of
MTE.
those. We went. It's not like super prestigious. Like I said, it's not the Battle of Atlantis or the Maui Invitational, but there's good schools at the time. I think Baylor was who was involved. Who we'll
It
talk
was
about was
13. I
ranked.
think
They
Baylor
were
was
ranked
13.
13. Just
Yeah.
we were one in front of them at the time. Virginia's they were dealing with the coach. Obviously, they were dealing with their coaching struggles because their coach left beginning of the year. But there were some pretty decent teams down there, and St. John's was that other one down there. And right out the gate, we dominated Virginia. I mean, again, understand that they had their coaching issues. They're not the team that they planned on being, but at the same time, we beat them 64-42, and it
That
was
was
never close.
yeah. It was pretty easy. I mean, the team just looked like not a normal Rick Barnes team, but really a normal Rick Barnes team. Like play intense defense, get stops, hit your open shots, cause turnovers, dive to the paint, rebound, hustle. Like it just looked like a regular game for them.
The
Like
rebounding, I think's really came together. If we're talking specifically about what they've done in the last couple of games, is they like because we had talked how they, I don't think got out rebounded, or they might have gotten out rebounded by Indiana in that first game, but they also struggled just on the boards anyways, and they've really
yeah,
cleaned it up. I don't have like a stat or a number for it, but they've really cleaned that up, and I think that's allowed them to be more competitive. More specifically, though,
wait, before we move on, it's honestly surprising because JP's out. So
yes,
it's
that's
just like
don't yeah,
we're
don't want
getting more
to.
fatigue for Cade and more fatigue for Akpar and stuff because they got to play deeper minutes because we don't have JP for the rest of the season. So, but I am really impressed with like you said what they're doing. Like I don't have an exact number, but I'm really impressed. You could say the intensity has like what has been a focal point for Barnes and his staff. Like, hey, we have to rebound the ball no matter who we're playing. So yeah,
For sure, I don't want to overlook that. I'm glad you brought it up. We had talked in our preview that we did early in the season about where that like how that low post center front court was gonna play out. And not only did you have JP and Felix, and sometimes you had Igor down there, and sometimes played the four, sometimes played the five. But then all of a sudden you had Kate Phillips kind of emerge to and
yeah,
actually provide some minutes and provide some real a real depth piece. And unfortunately, hope he gets well and rehab soon. But
because
unfortunately, JP Estrella kind of takes care of that for you, and he gets a
because
season-ending injury, lower leg. It was announced before the Bahamar
yeah,
tournament
it is.
that he was going to be out, and then shortly after the tournament announced that he would be done for the season, and so he is done for the season. So I think it is going to be between that center role is going to be between Felix and Cade Phillips. Will split time there, and they've in his absence done a really good job. I think one. Felix, I thought played particularly well and has played in the last couple stretch. So in
He's been
ways,
emerging, man.
in ways, if you just want to take it as in a lighter tone, has been a blessing in disguise because it has allowed him to kind of open up and facilitate a little more and get a little more time and more space, especially the couple of times they would play them together. Obviously, two bigs down there. Sometimes it works out, but a lot of times it might limit, someone offensively. And speaking of offense, the we had talked about in the team, especially in these two games here in the Bahamas. We had talked previously in our last episode about the team getting off to slow starts, especially against inferior talent.
Yeah, they definitely did that against Virginia. And I was watching the game. I don't even remember if I texted you or not, but I was watching the game. I'm like, man, why are we like we're not playing as well? But we have this thing. It was like they literally remind me of the 2016 or the KD Warriors or the Steph Curry, like the 2016 to 2018 era of the Warriors. Like the third quarter, what will be the third quarter in college is like literally like we do it every game, bro. I don't understand like. I feel like Baylor was the only game that was like, all right, we didn't start off like we started off fire hot against Baylor, but like we do this every game. We start off slow in the first half, and then it's just is whatever Coach Barnes and or the players say at halftime just makes the players come in and like, okay, we have to go play basketball because I think yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It was 22-21 in the first half, and then we outscored them 42-21 in the second half. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Uh,
man, we
it's
ball.
important to note that they were I don't believe they were I think they were down, but not for long. They kept the lead most of that game. They kind of came back, and then the second half they just absolutely. I mean, the second half, Chaz Lanier, who had 26 points on the game, very nice, scored 18 points in the final 18 minutes. I mean,
I think he had a stretch where he scored like 10 in a row by himself too.
yeah,
Early.
he made 10 field goals, another 10 field goals,
Yeah.
six of them were threes. I mean, everything we've said about him, of his potential, of his
He's doing
ability
it, man.
to
He's
his
doing
to
it.
score to be a three-level scorer, his ability to get hot, his ability to be that number one option. And then again, you hate when players are out, but maybe having a guy like D Stone having had to take some time
Oh yeah,
away due to personal
I was
reasons,
excited to see him
but
too,
maybe
man.
it's nice to have him back, but also maybe that the time that he was away did
Yeah,
keep that from being a competition. Like they didn't have to try to fight
yeah,
for that or see
that's it.
who might emerge out of that. Chancellor was able to come in and step right in, and he went off that game. He was awesome in the tournament. He was awesome when he came back. But like I said, 26 points leading, an interesting stat that they had put up that I think is notable, not only for all of these teams like that Rick Barnes has had, but this one in particular, especially going forward, is
Yeah,
Tennessee is 30-0 under Rick Barnes when holding its opponents under 50 points, which we've done consistently so far this year. If you know Rick Barnes, you know that his brand
man.
of basketball is defense first, gritty, hard defense. Something we talk a lot about offensive woes. Sometimes it's inconsistent, sometimes three-pointers are streaky, but you really never question the defensive intensity. And I think that's the key moving forward, especially, and we'll talk more about the rest of the SEC. But when you look around the SEC, you look at all these teams that are ranked, I think that key figure of like if you can, because
The
that's
defense.
it's hard to hold a team under 50, but at the same time in college basketball, it's not impossible. It's not hard. Obviously in the NBA, you think like, oh, that never happened, but I mean we're holding teams to under 50 all the time. These
Yeah,
like not only just these like FCS like out of conference like low that's the football term, but like these low
Power five.
ranked,
Yeah,
yeah, these low uh uh D1 teams, but the big ones too, like your Virginia's, who is not a bad program. They might be struggling this year, they might
right
be in
now.
a tournament time, but they aren't a bad program. And I think that's an interesting stat to keep note for, especially in the
Yeah, I
future.
mean, it's just literally I've written about it in my article. Like, bro, we can be a three and like Tennessee can be in 3-and-D team because
Yeah,
we're gonna
like
shoot a
if
bunch of. That's
seriously,
just
if
yeah, like that's just something that just happens because we have Zakai, Igor can stretch the floor with a long ball. You know, Chaz is liable to shoot from 35 if he can. But yeah, like we can if we're able to shoot around like 37, 38% and play this same style of defense when we get to conference play, it's gonna be a really nice trying to see like how where Tennessee really fits in, you know.
I mean, I don't remember if it was you or me who said it our last episode that if Tennessee like if 3-and-D was a team, like there's
Yeah,
3-and-D players, but if
Tennessee.
3-and-D was a team, it would be the Tennessee Volunteers, and that's not a bad way to go about it, especially in this age of college basketball. If you could just play good, sound disciplined defense, and then once get those 3 points, you don't want to live and die by the three, but once the threes start falling, especially like when you have a guy like Chaz who once he finds a hot hand and they're just gonna feed it to him. It's the same thing we did last year with Dalton Connect, and it won us a lot of games and got us pretty far in the tournament. But moving on to the next day, we've already kind of briefly talked about it. As we mentioned, the Vols we lament tend to start off slow, and that's been our biggest thing. And honestly, my biggest fear going into these bigger games is like, oh, one of these
Yeah,
days,
that does
well, one
scare
of
me.
these games, somebody's going to catch us starting slow, and we're not going to be able to come back. Well, that was not the case against Baylor, number 13 ranked Baylor. And to be honest with you, I mentioned this to the person I was watching with a friend of mine, and he was saying like, well, yeah, but and even the broadcast mentioned it over, like they're coming off a double over. So Baylor the night before the tournament. This is last
Yeah,
like not last weekend, but the weekend before.
they
Um,
play. I don't
so
remember.
they played St. John and they went into
St. John's,
double
yeah.
OT. They came back and they won the game to move on to the championship round of the of the,
Yeah.
the tournament. And everyone's like, oh, double OT, they're tired in these back-to-back games. And I'm not taking that away from them. Back-to-backs are hard, even if you don't go into double OT. But at the same time, one, I mean, they forced the Tennessee game, which was right after, be even later. So even though they didn't play double OT, the Tennessee boys were still
They play
playing
like
super
10.
late.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
like
didn't
10
start.
o'clock.
They were playing super late, so they probably weren't done and get back in their hotels and couldn't get settled in until super late. So they still were at a disadvantage as their game had to start super late. Not as much as like having to play the double OT. I respect that, but at the same time, like I would expect a team of mine to be able to handle your business play, even if you have to take an overtime or two to beat a team and still come out and be competitive. I don't think that's any excuse. I mean, the Vols jumped out to a 16-2 lead in the first 4 minutes. That's
It was all Chaz Lanier too. Like it was like I don't know if y'all watched the game. If y'all watched the game, man,
yeah.
it was literally like he's in shoot around, coming off of screens three, coming off a screen catch and shoot three. Like it was literally. I think I think his first five baskets were like all threes. And he was 5 for 5 from the field. Like he was on a heater, and they outscored Baylor 47-20 in the first half. So
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
just like
40. At one point, it was 42 before the half expired. It was 42-14. They're up 28 points over. Like we were number 12 at the time. They were number 13. Baylor. Like very comparable teams. Like just again, I don't. I will. I will take the fatigue argument up to a certain point, but I mean, you're dominant. The Vols look nothing short of dominant this past
That's
year.
not even sloppy basketball. It's just like, man, you're getting beat. You're getting beat. And it really just reminds me of our preview, like just trying to see how far can this team go. I know it's super early, we only played 6 games, but just realizing like, man, this is a really good Rick Barnes team, even without Dog Connect. And those key pieces like Josiah Jordan James, Vescovy, like I feel like they're starting to find the identity of the team, what the team can potentially be. And it's only gonna grow, and they're gonna grow and gel more as a team as they get into conference play because Zakai looks the same. Like he looks like he's a comparable well, he's been a great leader out there. Meshack is the same player that he always is for the team. And like you said, like guys like D Stone stepping up, Igor Milicic stepping up. It's just a lot of good Akpar stepping up. It's just a lot of good basketball getting played, man. I'd really just want to see like what practices or these timeouts or even halftime and stuff looks like because the team is really gelling and locking in, and you can see they're starting to find their identity. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. You want to talk about again the guys stepping up like Chaz Lanier being that guy that you want to compete and play well. I mean, he comes out and scores 25 points in the first half. He didn't score any in the second half, but didn't have to because he already got the Vols out to a dominant, dominant lead, dominant performance.
Yeah.
From him to go back from 26 points, very high efficiency shooting, to 25 points in the first half. It's again,
He
Dalton
outscored
Connect
he
like
outscored Baylor
numbers.
by himself, bro.
Yes, I
20
mean
25
that's there's no excuse. You can't say you're tired. There's no excuse when a guy like that. I mean, that is I still think that says more about the Volunteers than it does about Baylor being
Yeah.
tired or being in any kind of way. I still think that his ability to stretch the floor, score inside, and that's what I think the coaches want. I mean, I go to practices often, and I'm there, and we both go early for pre games and shoot arounds and stuff like that. And I think that's just what the coaching staff is really pushing him to do is to shoot more, shoot good shots, but if you see it there,
Yeah.
shoot your shots, shoot good shots. And he's getting them up. He's letting them fly, and they're really encouraging him to step up and not be afraid to take over. I mean, it's hard to be the new guy, to be the transfer, and he's stepped in and really done a great job. I'm very impressed with him. And then even leads down. So they win in the Bahamas, they win the championship.
Yeah.
It's a nice little piece. Anytime you can come back with a trophy is always nice. They'll put it up somewhere. And you come back, you play your little sister school, UT Martin, the
Those are
Skyhawks. It's
crazy.
again a nothing burger of a game as far as like competitiveness, even watchability. I mean, the Skyhawks are not even a top school in with OVC, the Ohio Valley. So you know that you're not going to get much from them, but you would still expect them to perform well. And they did. They come back off a championship. They could have easily been played sloppy, and they didn't. They go right back to it. Start off hot. They win 78-35. I saw that was I saw a stat that said that was the lowest amount of points scored in at home, so in Thompson Bowling or Food City, but I'll call it Thompson Bowling. I think they said ever, like in program history, that was just the fewest amount of points scored. So to still, I still think that regards to the competition, that says more about the team because to still go all the way to the Bahamas to the beach, basically on vacation, win, make it feel even more like a vacation. You know, they enjoyed themselves, and to come back where it's cold and you're in the mountains and it's almost Thanksgiving. It's easy to just not want to do anything or give up or kind of put in a lackadaisical, phone it in, and they come out and they still play that kind of defense. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, it was good. On the defense just hasn't been a problem for me this season. The only thing that does scare me about the impressive win that we had was it was like you said, the 3-point shooting. Like it will we live and die by the three. I feel like we shot 63 total shots and 37 of them were threes. So it's really like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
relying on knocking down the three ball and we
More
only
so this year, yeah, than it feels like most. Again, I don't, I we need to look up a stat to really verify, but it does feel like they are putting up a lot more threes, and it's encouraging. Again, it's the way that college, not just college basketball, it's the way basketball is played these days,
yeah.
analytics and whatnot. That's what you want. I think you see teams like UConn who have success, and you think you probably even teams like Purdue, and you see like we need to start getting them up. Again, if they're gonna fall, like that's fine, but I think it would be interesting to see how we play in this upcoming game tomorrow against Syracuse. Now, before we get to that, yeah, I think it is like I was saying before, when I say it's more of a testament to the team than it is to this team in particular than it is like the opponents. And I say that, and I think the people are agreeing with us nationally because Tennessee made their jump all the way from they moved from 12 to 11. We
Three,
preseason 12 moved to 11, and we jumped from 11 or might have jumped just in the top 10 at one point, but
seven,
I,
seven. That's what it
we
was
were
seven.
seven, so jumped after I think after we went to seven, but now they
Yeah.
jumped us top three. We are number three in the
Three
nation right now.
behind
Kind of scary.
Kansas, I think behind Kansas
Kansas,
and
Auburn, us, and then
yeah.
Kentucky and Marquette are right behind us as well. Um, Kind of scary at some point. I don't know, just a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I
It's like,
mean,
oh,
I feel like
I
every
saw it.
Tennessee team.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I got the notification this morning, we text each other. It was like I feel like every Tennessee team, every time we get ranked somewhere in that general top 3 to 5, is like I don't know. I guess I'm just so scarred from like football, but like every time we get ranked, bro, like, I feel like the team just like I don't know. But hopefully that doesn't happen with basketball.
Hopefully not. It's the number ones that scare me, like getting the first
Yeah, the
seed. I
number one.
wouldn't
Yeah,
mind getting a first seed, but at the same time, and I don't know how much. We have a lot of basketball to be paid. So, you can't put too much stock into it. It's what, week
we
three
only
or
6 games
four?
in, so we can't really
Yeah,
speak. Yeah,
yeah. So, 7-0. We haven't really played too much of anybody yet. Been dominant. I'm not saying that's not well deserved. I obviously a fan, so or I watch the team play. I work for the team, so you think to yourself like, yeah, I could totally justify this being a top three team in the nation. But at the same time, you got to be realistic. And what scares me is because like UConn, you watch UConn struggles in
three,
their in
three in a
their
row.
they lost three in a row. They dropped to number 25. They almost dropped out of the rankings entirely. Two-time reigning national champions almost dropped down entirely. So you see a team like UConn, who the past 2 years have been so dominant. Purdue has been pretty dominant, and they're not dominant right now because they don't have some of these guys. It does kind of feel like, and I didn't even really, to be honest with you, think about it as much or feel it as much when we were first talking about it in our preview, but it does kind of feel now that we are in this like 7-0, we're in the top three, or at the very least we're in the hunt. It does kind of seem like this number one team in the country is up for grabs. Like it does not feel very fluid. Kansas isn't is a great team, but I
Yeah,
don't feel as if they have a chokehold on that number one spot. And so I would be prepared very soon, especially we got some big games. We got the ACC versus SEC
talent.
match tomorrow versus Syracuse. We're playing Miami for some more ACC action next week in New York.
Also
Um,
played on Thursday. Auburn plays Duke like Wednesday or Thursday. So
Yeah, so I mean, we got some stuff going on. There's a lot of teams we playing, a lot of other teams in that top 10 to 15 area, which is good. It's why I love college basketball because the teams actually play each other. Like I love college football too, but those teams don't always get to. We get these matchups in college basketball, which is what I love about hoops like
yeah,
that. And we can kind of speak to that too, because even if for whatever reason we're to pick up a loss to one of these teams, it's nice that it's basketball because you're not so punished. Like I unlike Dan Hurley's comments earlier, we talked about not wanting to play in these tournaments. I think these tournaments are
that's
great for us. I
that's
love playing in these tournaments. That last year, I don't know why he would even say that. And this isn't a podcast about UConn. They Field 68's got guys for that, but those guys like. I don't even know why he would say such a thing because that's what you want. You want to play in these big tournaments with these other teams. You pick up three losses. You pick up three losses. We went one of two last year in the Bahamas. I think when we dropped to Purdue
it
and
ended up a top five team.
yeah, and we still ended up top five team. We were a second, we were a two seed. We go to the Elite Eight. Like it doesn't matter. If anything, I think it helps the fact that you play Purdue. Then and you lost Purdue at the end of the season, but who cares? You were better prepared because you already played them. You already played tough talent. We went to UNC for the ACC Challenge last year. We went over to Chapel Hill. I'm all for it. I think it's great. I loved playing Baylor. I loved playing Virginia.
Yeah,
I
I
wish
like it because
I wish there was a way to
yeah,
play all three of them. Like I think it's
yeah.
good, especially early in the season when teams you're figuring yourself out, you're trying to do it. I have no problem with it. And I love the fact that it's college basketball and not football in the sense of like you can do that and not suffer. It's okay. So don't be surprised here soon if the Vols keep winning out. If we're going to be on here talking about a number one ranked Tennessee Vols team, and I think
It'd
we
be
I,
exciting.
I mean it's fun for us to get to do this show and talk about it. I want to be here every step of the way. Again, apologies for the absence, but now we're all in. We're here, ready to go. A lot of basketball left to be played.
Yeah, it's a lot of games. It's about over 25 games probably. But what excites me, like you just said about the whole like you just get to see unconventional matchups. Like really probably wouldn't ever play Baylor. We probably wouldn't ever play Virginia. Like these are like things like I love seeing these unconventional matchups because you can see who really plays basketball. Also, and how fast the turnarounds are. Like you don't really have that much time to watch film and be like, okay, this is how we're going to prepare it. You're just literally just on the fly on the go. So it's something that's it like you really get to see how good a team is,
And I
and I feel
think
like we really got to see how good Tennessee was this past weekend, and even playing UT Martin as well.
definitely, and they do that little net rankings where they like decide like how much like losses and wins like mean like in they have formula for it. I don't get into it now, but and they had Tennessee ranked number one like as far as like the teams that we've played in the net ranking that we have we're ranked number one in the nation, which probably had the biggest to do with us jumping up as we've not played a bad schedule really, and we dominate. I mean, we were just having well, it's be one thing, but I think we've played mostly dominant basketball. And yeah, I love it. It's why I love these in conference things, and we're kind of getting into that as we're about to preview like tomorrow's not against Syracuse, but I like playing these big schools. These I mean Syracuse isn't doing so hot right now, but they're a good historic program, and I like playing your Baylor's, who is a real competitor in the Big 12. I like playing these other schools, and it's
And they're
different than
not just
football.
they won the championship in the last 3 years, so
Yeah,
they're
it
really
was a
good.
couple years ago, and I like that we do that all the time. Especially again, it's not football because football is like different. Like I'm one to agree that SEC football is just far different from any other kind of brand of football, like the physicality, the style of play, the athletes. Same with Big Ten. It's all so different. But the thing with basketball is hoopers are hoopers. Like it kind of doesn't matter. Like basketball is just different because football is a team sport, of course, and basketball is a team sport. But I mean, you saw it. Who was that guy? Who was it? Austin? No, it wasn't Austin P. Who was it? That game we saw where that one guy,
Uh, Montana,
yeah,
Montana
Montana, that dude just
wasn't
goes
Money Williams.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
Money Williams, just goes off. Like he's just an absolute dog and scoring everywhere. You can't stop him. And it didn't matter. We won the game handedly
yeah.
because the rest of their talent wasn't there. But Hoopers are Hoopers, and so I mean, if he was on a slightly more talented team, he'd really like even if it was less talented than the Vols, if he was on a
Those
slightly
are
more talented team, like he would still have challenged that Tennessee team and probably really brought them to their wits' end. The only reason is he just didn't have any help after that. But some of these teams that you think aren't really that good, like a Syracuse, probably has a guy like Money Williams, a dude who can just get hot and
they
score.
they actually do. They have this junior guard named JJ Starling. He averages 19.8 points and like 5 boards, so really 20 and 5. He seems to be a streaky shooter. He shoots 47% from the field, 29% from three, and 69 from the free throw line. So I really think Coach Barnes is just gonna like make him make tough shots. make him feel like he has to shoot certain shots, and just hopefully the shots don't fall. I mean, some scores you just really can't, stop them. And I also
Well,
have
but
help from freshman forward Dunny Freeman. He averages 12 and 9, so um,
yeah,
that's
they're
really
not doing so hot. Again, I think they're coming to Knoxville here tomorrow night to play one of the best defenses in the country, one of the best defenses every year. I definitely think I mean, there's always the strategy, which I'm not here to strategize or coach for them, but there's always a strategy. You just, you let those guys get theirs and you just stop the rest of the team. And sure, the guy has 20, one average 12. They score 50 points, like we said, less than 50 or something like that. I don't know if you'll hold Syracuse less than 50, but they score, 60, you score 78, 75. I think you get out of there with a pretty clean win. I'm not expecting too big of a challenge. I know it's the ACC SEC challenge, and I think they scheduled this when Syracuse was playing a little bit better. They really are kind of struggling this year. I need to find some. They're 13th in the Atlantic Coast Conference right now. Let's see what their record is.
They're
Uh,
4-2. I
yeah,
think they're
so
4. Yeah, because they had two close losses versus Texas and Texas A&M.
yeah, which good teams. Not actually anything to take away from them, but 4-2,
Yeah.
not the best, not the worst. They're early
I
season,
mean,
but
hey,
I've
they just got a commitment from Carmelo Anthony's son, so
yeah,
that's a
they
good
did.
spotlight for him.
Notable alumni Carmelo Anthony. Um,
Yeah, that's good
but
for him. Speaking of recruits, I mean, did Tennessee just sign or get two
yes.
commits?
Yeah, I'd like to little highlights. We're getting to the end of that. Like I said, not too much to say about Syracuse. Tennessee's strong defense. They move the ball well. You're at home, which they play really well at home. I'm expecting some pretty good play out of them. I'm expecting Chaz Lanier to come out and play pretty good. And then I'm expecting them to hold Syracuse's top scorers. I think they're it's not easy. You don't ever want to say something's an easy win, but
Yeah,
if you ask me right now, I don't. I'm not as
shouldn't be much of a problem. Let's just say that.
yeah. So we'll see that tomorrow, or we'll have more to say after the game, definitely. And those probably surprise me. However, as we get closer to the end of this, I do want to highlight signing day, National Signing Day for other sports other than football was here recently, and picked up a couple 4 stars, which is really nice. Let me pull those up. We'll say a little something about them. But overall, that's kind of what you want to see out of this team because I think a lot of times we had talked, especially in the last 2 years, about the transfer portal in
Yeah,
Tennessee, like kind of relying on the transfer portal, which, is a strategy. You can go that way and that's fine. But the best teams, I don't know, maybe I'm just a purist, and I still think that the best teams know how to recruit and like grow their own talent.
yeah,
Dwayne Brown the
yeah.
second and Amari Evans. So Brown is a 6 foot. Wow. I didn't even see this. I knew that I watched some film of them. I didn't even look some clips of them. I didn't even know there's this Amari or no, this Dwayne Brown kid, Dwayne Brown the second, 6'9", 255 forward from Hoover, Alabama. As a big
Big.
boy. It's a big guy. I
Big.
don't
Yeah.
We haven't had anybody with that kind of LeBron James like size. Um yeah, big forward, really good. Not too far. So these 4 and 5 stars. Tennessee struggles to get 5 stars. Like I said, we don't get them too often.
Yeah.
But you can round them out with some good 4 stars. Like I said, the only one we could think of was Cam Carr, was a 4 star maybe. Who's producing, and I know we had Julian Phillips, who was a 5 star. I believe he was a 5 star a few years ago. But we don't get too big of recruits. Tennessee isn't as much of a recruiting destination as it is a transfer portal destination. By good reason. It's a different kind of I always think it's a different kind of athlete looking in the transfer portal than when you're a recruit. When you're in high school, you're looking at a different thing. But I, I, I still think the mark of a truly great program, one of those blue bloods, is your ability to your ability to recruit in high school. And then the Evans kid, the Amari Evans, 5'11" or 6'5", 211 pound guard out of
Say
Pittsburgh.
5'11". That's
Not
crazy.
5'11", 6'5" guard. My fault. 6'5" guard
Yeah.
out of Pittsburgh. Both of them are consensus
Kind of
four
big too.
stars.
211, 211,
It's
6'5",
kind of
211. Kind of big
it,
too.
yeah, you won't actually pretty decent, especially for basketball players. You won't have to worry about them coming in and having to bulk up. We've had some, like I said, Julian Phillips, Kennedy Chandler, guys who came in pretty light, pretty skinny.
Yeah.
And those boys are coming in not
Oh
very
yeah.
light, skinny. I mean, they kind of actually. It's probably by design. It kind of sounds like those boys are coming in ready to play. And I guarantee that they have all intentions of coming in ready to play. And I think Rick Barnes has probably told them that.
Some players for
Um, and then finally, the only last thing we got to say about the game tomorrow, I'll let you take it away. A little fun, just a little fun thing to end it off with.
Yeah, as everybody knows, man, Tennessee has dark mode for football, but now it looks like we got in the Food City Center, man. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah,
I
announced
guess
today.
it's something we're doing because we're going against another orange team. So,
It's nice,
uh,
yeah, and it's a good time to bring him out. We we had the dark mode for football, which everybody knows, and I think people love it. It's I think even nationally, I think people really appreciate it, and it's nice, but especially the fan base. We have for baseball too. The baseball uniforms look nice, and pretty much all the other teams have them. Because some of the women's teams, but even most similar of them have them. I think like this, I want to say the softball team has them, but definitely the baseball and the football team have them. They look super clean, super crisp. The dark, just midnight black with that vibrant orange is really nice. And now people have asking for years, when's the basketball team going to get them? When the basketball team? I know the basketball team is going to get
kind of
those
fire
soon,
though. Yeah,
and
it's fire.
they announced it today. Jemai Meshack wonderfully showed those off for us. So check those out on social. We might even link it up here over a top to show you because they are pretty clean, and I'm excited to see those. That's just something I'm just excited to see tomorrow, anyways, just to watch them play, because I think it'll look clean. I love alternate jerseys in basketball. I think it's so fun.
Yeah, are you going to the game?
Yep, I'll be doing stats. So I'll be on the on the stat table.
That's fire. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I'm gonna make it, man. Semester's getting busy with exams and stuff,
It is
bro.
finals week. Want
Oh,
to point that out, finals week and last day of classes, and overall it's been a tough past couple weeks, obviously holidays, again, school.
but you had a
Me,
good
I do my stuff with
Thanksgiving.
the do it.
You had a good Thanksgiving.
Oh, I had a good, yeah, the family. Went over West Tennessee where I was from, and then you went back over to Memphis with your
That's it.
people. I'll
That's
just
it.
but yeah, it's been a busy past couple weeks with holidays, with school, and with Tennessee football making the or about to be officially make the college football playoffs. But
That's
we're still
exciting.
here. We're back. We're ready to go. We're gonna keep these out rolling and be more consistent, and especially now with winter break, we'll have nothing
It's
to
gonna
do but
yeah,
talk
no, it's gonna be
college hoops. So we're probably gonna actually maybe even give out too much content. Not gonna lie, I'm
yeah.
excited, and I won't have anything better to do. I'll just enjoy myself some college basketball over winter. But Jerma, it's a pleasure to see you, even if it's not in person. I know we've been busy, but I hope you had a good
Kind of like it,
holiday.
but it's kind of clean, like kind of
Good,
switching up the game.
it is.
Uh,
Hopefully, we get
yeah,
feedback how people like it. If
yeah,
it
we're gonna see.
works, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but appreciate everybody for tuning in.
As
I'm
always,
Jeremiah. Man.
I'm Gabe. Y'all have a happy holidays.